Welcome
All
back
right,
to
now.
Whoa,
Sorry.
whoa.
Wait, what?
Go ahead, Pedro.
Can I go through an entire part of this without Discord shitting all over me? Let's see. Stay tuned, everybody, to find out.
Isn't talking about that kind of what tempts it?
True, but I gotta make some kind of joke somehow.
Fair enough.
Now it's gonna make
Pedro.
it worse.
Be positive, Pedro. Me and the courageous Darkstar, the rabite, will save the day once more for everyone.
In Undyne,
Alright,
of course.
It's time to place the ancient tablet artifact
Oh,
and create
goody.
one of my most hated dungeons in the entire game.
Let's just say this is not gonna be pretty.
No, not at
But
all.
it seems so cute.
Mind
It
us.
looks harmless.
The mind us ruins.
But it's the first dungeon in the game.
Actually, no. The first was the Luon Mine, the Luon Hyro, and this is. Remember, technically, I can place them in the order I preferred.
It looks so cute, though.
We'll see in due time. For now, we start entering as usual. Starts a quest. The one first time. Tea time of danger.
Oh, not fucking tea time.
That's because both Well and Onion and Teapo are involved. Go ahead, Pedro.
Teapo wanted to go off and pick some tea leaves, but we got separated. I hate getting lost.
Here's the thing. Essentially, now you have to rescue Teapo from this dungeon. Here's the problem.
Virgin sigh.
It's intricate as fuck, so I'm not gonna even bother showing you the whole thing and just speed up because I really pity you.
So
And guess the music.
it sounds. No, that can't be.
Something bowling around, Jova, maybe?
Sonic 06, the desert.
Yes.
Oh.
I just... Essentially, the ruined palace where Silver has to roll the ball thing.
Yeah.
What you need to do in this dungeon is traveling from screen to screen, activating keys in order to open these these gates in a particular, very specific order. This is one of the quests that's the most infuriating because you have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And remember, enemies respawn as soon as you leave the screen. So if there are screens with enemies in it, you have to fight them again, despite everything.
What about all these NPCs that you appear to be talking to?
They're the ones that activate the levers. But thankfully, once you actually enter inside, it's actually more easy because it's straightforward, thank God.
So do we actually get to know these NPCs, or are they just,
They're flowerlings, like, go ahead, Leaves.
Well, where are you? Why don't you come to me? I'm so lonely. I'm so bloody lonely. I've got a spell.
Whoa,
Jesus.
shield it.
He went from 0 to 10 really quick.
Think decap, dude. Think
Why,
decap.
you're that Theo. We met in Domina. Blimey, I went out looking for nice tea leaves and I got lost.
Is tea all you think about?
Well, it's
Yes.
a teapot.
Cause I'm fucking British, now shut up. So
There
I ended
you
up
go.
here, deep underground.
Notice that
Yeah.
And I did that fancy bloke, so...
Hi, Mega Man X. What's your soundtrack doing here?
Oh, I almost forgot.
what?
Terrible fucking bat lives here.
Dude, it's killing me right now.
Are we gonna turn into a vampire now or something?
I don't know.
Well, take care around here.
I just don't have any
Wow. You're welcome, by the way.
Would you kindly stop?
Oh. The heck?
Pharaoh, yeah.
First, I get a magical creature full of water, and now a filthy human. Only the blood of the peaceful dove can quench my thirst. Well, let's start by disposing of these meddlesome humans.
I actually have a rabbi companion, you know.
Well, hello there. So
It's essentially a vampire succubus. I forgot the name of his boss, but yeah, it's the one that controlled these particular underground ruins.
Oh no, you were biting me. Now watch as I can...
Stunlock, the power of Stunlock, bitch.
So
It's just like I'm playing Street Fighter 2 Vanilla all over again.
I was actually gonna say Darkstalkers, but yeah. Because remember, Darkstalkers is essentially a horror-themed Street Fighter, as it was called back in the day.
Except that as a fighting game, it actually has competent rules. So, you know, if it worked as a fighting game, my character will be broken as fuck. It's like spamming light punch all over the place.
So, does she have any story to her?
Essentially, she was the one controlling. Teapo came here and essentially awakened her, and that's it.
And she was sucking our blood. Why?
Because we entered their cave and everything. It's a simple quest, Joe, honestly.
Huh.
Because in the dungeon, it's into not something you're supposed to, know that much about.
Well,
There
thank
we go.
goodness they didn't try and pick up some deep story lore for her, because that defeat would have been embarrassing.
We're gonna use again this dungeon later on for another quest tied to one of the main 3 story arcs, but it's gonna be relatively more easy.
So you essentially have to do all that back and forth just to get into a room?
Yeah. Glimpse?
Huh.
Whatever.
Well, oi!
Yeah, quite an adventure out there gathering tea leaves, didn't you?
Why would you gather tea leaves here?
Life is full of adventure. Only those who enjoy it can grow.
You're right, but I felt so helpless. Honest, Scav.
Oh. Let's go home and have some tea.
So we can
Yes.
literally drink this guy's tears when you think about it.
Pretty
Right.
much.
I want to have some tea and forget this old bleeding thing. I just want to
You were not the one bleeding.
Oh dear me, no thank you. I already get upset enough watching West Ham.
And that's it. So Shirei, pro tip: next time you go get some tea, try to avoid vampires.
Chill.
And avoid succubuses, even if they have Welsh accents.
Now you know.
Again.
Actually, Morrigan has a Scottish accent.
But remember, Tio, she's played by a Welsh actress.
That's weird.
A Welsh
Wait, who
actress.
is?
Voice.
Basically, Shireen Morrigan, who's Scottish, is played by a Welsh voice actress.
Uphold
But-
that Celtic
huh?
spirit, eh?
At least in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. For some stupid reason, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite forgot that she was Scottish because that game could not get a thing right except
Oh,
its
even
gameplay.
she's the same voice actress.
A classic case of people going, oh, Scottish, Welsh, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Basically, Tio, for some reason, Morrigan does not have her Scottish accent in Infinite.
Do
Actually,
you?
you don't know how many times people have actually confused my accent. So
Your accent,
Oh.
I mean, as far as Welsh accents goes, your accent is pretty tame.
Which it's funny you mentioned that, Pedro. When you, from my experience, when I saw Shiori in person, she had a pretty thick Welsh accent.
All right, go ahead, Weebs.
So she's hiding your accent from.
Opening and closing the firing gates, and today's monster kept sucking out my master's blood. Stop bothering my master!
So here you go. That's what those things were called, flowers.
Yeah, Shiori's been hiding Welshiness from us. but
You've
not
been
from
found
me.
out. You've been
the,
found out,
the
Shiro.
microphone is disguising my Welshness.
Wouldn't
Just that,
surprise
yeah,
me.
She's hiding her power level.
So,
Oh,
little cactus kid, it's nice that you want the monster to leave us alone, but I don't think she'll be able to bother us anymore since, we told you she's dead.
Semantics, Joe.
So, we're gonna talk to the...
All right.
Oh, there we are.
Master! Yeah, call me your #1 apprentice. I studied magic at the academy.
Which we'll see later.
Awards.
I've heard of the 7 wisdoms of mana. Except, one died. So now there are only 6. I sure would like to meet them someday. I wonder where they are.
I wonder.
Hey, take me on a search for them.
Hey.
Sure, why not?
Now you're talking.
And there you go, he joins the party.
Dun, dun, dun,
The
dun.
7 wisdom. Now, this is the only quest that I will not complete in the part that is introduced. It's gonna be completed in a later one. Essentially, what you need to do is to travel all around the world with Bud and having him talk at least once with the sages. The sages. How do you recognize them? The quests introduce them, in one way or the other, so they're relatively easy to spot. I'm starting this only now because this is one of the best points to talk
Level them
with
up, I'm
one
guessing.
of them. No. It's as the quests progress. The more areas you unlock, the more sages you will meet because they are residing in specific areas. However, we need to talk to one that moves a lot between areas, so it's relatively random depending on the quest. So we're just gonna get to a place where we know where to find it, and as soon as you talk to him, it's gonna be counted as registered. So even if you resume the quest later on, it's gonna be stuck.
You know,
And there you go. Using the bottle spirit, we create a mine.
You know, does the story ever recognize that you're the one creating these roads using these objects?
That's one of the ambiguities. We kind of talked over it, but the priest in Domina says that it's just some preaching that the Sproutlings do, and people are not believing that.
Which is weird because we were sold one of these items and then used it, so does that mean those people didn't exist until...
You have to understand, items are given to us randomly. They do not be considered artifact by the people who give them to us.
Oh, I get that. What I'm saying is, like, though, since we use that item to procure the world, does that mean that that world didn't truly exist until we made it?
Food for thought, Joe, but save it for the end of the game.
Alright.
Anyway, Bud fights with his trusty frying pan.
Well, wait. You're telling me that the thing that nearly kicked our butts in a pumpkin patch was a frying pan?
And some magic. He uses also some magic abilities.
Huh, so that's where Tangle got it from.
There you go. This one
Hey,
is called Pokiel.
Hey, it's Pokio.
It's Pedro, you're gonna be playing me. It essentially looks like a raven with weird fancy egg. It reminds me a bit of Panchito Pistoles from the Three Caballeros.
Hello, Bob. The goddess is always doing her best to help, and no, I will not be doing a racist to Mexican act.
No, don't worry.
All we need to do is find out what she has done for.
Yeah, fun fact is the game progresses the more you meet him. Pokiel is kind of an asshole.
Good day, I am Pokiel the storyteller. Shall I tell you the story of Coco? My master is away. By the way, because Coco. The master is away. He's probably on the...
Essentially, this quest is finding Pokiel's master, quote unquote, which is gonna be the blacksmith of this area.
Question.
And, yes.
Was this side quest only triggered because you're doing Bud's side quest, or could you possibly have gotten it?
I could have run in the way normally on my own. I just brought Bud here because it helps with his side quest.
Reminds me.
Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like Bud's side quest is one of those ones that the devs think you're gonna wait until you've made most of the world to do, but I guess
pretty much.
Well,
here's the thing: you can start it whenever you want, but essentially by design itself, you're supposed to complete it after you unlock the enough areas to meet the actual sages.
So essentially, that means Bud's gonna be with us for a while, I guess.
No, as soon as you finish this quest, remember, party members leave you as soon as you enter the house. In case of Bud, it's just gonna run into it on its own. So essentially, as soon as we finish this quest, and we're gonna have to report, Bud is gonna say, "Oh, okay, come back when you need me," and he's gonna run into it. And wait for us to pick him up.
So essentially, this is the first part of Bud's side quest, I guess.
Essentially. Well, yeah, let's just say that.
Also,
it's gonna be completed soon enough, don't worry.
Does his sister Lisa give any other separate side quests?
Yes, we have this side quest for Bud, 2 for Lisa, I think, and 1 that involves both of them and the little cactus.
Yeah, I guess in regards to Bud, it makes sense that he has one, since his side quest is technically something that goes across the stretch of the game, whereas with Lisa's, I'm guessing those are like 2 things kept to, you know...
Lisa's side quest helps for the backstory of the twins. Anyway, we need to enter the mine in order to find the blacksmith, as I mentioned, which later on, as soon as we save him, it's gonna essentially help us out a bit for the side quest in general, and also it's gonna unlock the blacksmith abilities in our house. It's gonna use one of those empty spaces in the backyard to actually build the blacksmith forge, which here is a good segue for me to talk about it. You remember when I mentioned that there are a couple of things that to this day people have still not managed to figure out? Yeah. Blacksmithing the best items is one of them, because due to how it's structured and the combination that you can get from the items, people have not figured out at all a logical pattern to use in order to craft specific weapon types and weapons in general. It's weird, trust me. I mean, on paper it's fine enough, it's your standard blacksmithing system of put a weapon, put a loot material, and there you go. But the problem is, due to the different, there are like a gajillion different types to choose from. So essentially, due to the combinations, forging the correct path for a weapon to become stronger and stronger is very weird. And in fact, I'm gonna use it only relatively minimal in this game at all. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that people are freaking out to this day in order to figure out. Thankfully, again, it's an optional mechanic. You can perfectly win with the weapons that you buy in the shops and everything. So it's only for completion's sake. But again, if you are a completionist, it's gonna become a literal nightmare for you.
Yeah,
I think 2 screens ahead is the boss room. Alright. Go ahead, Jonah, you were saying?
Yeah, I can just imagine all the different story directions, the variations and whatnot that have to go into, you know, accommodating for like different starts. And holy cow, that kid is OP!
Again, magic and everything.
He did that with a frying pan!
It's just a catalyst, Joe.
Again,
If
Joe,
you're
like
using
you
magic.
yourself said, you've seen Tango. You should
Yeah.
know this.
There's still
but
gonna
yeah,
be a
it's
frying pan keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 3, isn't there?
Joe, we can't have a tangled world in the Kingdom Hearts game and not have a frying pan keyblade. I mean, that would be such a big missed opportunity. Come on.
Well,
Oh boy.
don't mind us, giant purple people eater.
I'm busy, you! Come back there!
How old are you?
It's actually a dwarf.
Stop it, yeah! Everybody!
Dude, there's
I said cut it out!
do you seriously not see it?
This place is dangerous! You best be on your way! I'm trying to go for Irish.
Yeah. Don't worry, you're doing fine. Oh yeah, this boss on its own is relatively fine because it just casts some magic, and as you can see, his health bar is relatively low. But one of its upgraded version is, they just say, a complete cheap shot. But I'm getting ahead of myself too much and in due time. Let me explain just how this works. This boss has these 2 tentacles like with hands on it, and as soon as you damage them enough, the ends are gonna drop them, and you'll need to deplete their separate health bar. In turn, the boss is gonna replace them, and in order to do so, he's gonna sacrifice part of his health bar. So essentially, what you need to do is keep destroying their hands until the boss suicides himself.
Wow.
Go. Pretty figure. Also, there you go. Both Bud and Darkstar are down. Poor Darkstar the rabite. Don't worry, we'll get his moment to shine. But it's got a good moment to introduce you to the other mechanic that I mentioned. Once a character gets KO'd, a gray bar starts appearing and filling slowly. When it fills it to the max, the character is divided 100% HP. The more HP you have, the more slower the health bar will recover. So as long as at least one party member is alive, all the others can be revived potentially. So basically, this allows a bit of, you know, strategy, unlike what Final Fantasy XIII was trying to do with, if your leader is killed, everyone dies for some reason.
Are there any revive items?
No, actually there are no items at all, Dweebs. You don't use healing items in this game, nor... well, you can find them from enemies that have been defeated, like candies or chocolate bars, but it's only for the enemies that have been defeated. There you go. Oh,
now
jeez, it's bleeding green stuff.
I was about to say it was vomiting, but
Because we can't have bleeding blood.
Well, remember...
Oh, trust me, we're gonna get it later.
Well, to be fair, Shiroy, plants do have green blood.
What are you doing in a place like this?
It's because of the
I know,
chlorophyll
but I
in there.
just wanted to go for
Right,
the it's a video game.
That's the fastest monster about. Go home.
You know, buddy, I defeated it.
I defeated it.
Were you not paying attention, or did you nap? Or...
You must be joking.
Let's just say that this character doesn't have a great attention deficit.
Okay.
Right, you are so back in dungeon.
Yes.
Whoa, and a low memory span, too.
About that, right? I'm busy right now, so just make yourself at home.
Sit still for one moment.
Oh,
No.
there you go. In the meantime,
busy.
Poker will entertain us.
Pedro?
Sorry. Well then, now that it is here, allow me to tell you what Silverhook X.
Basically, what's his name of the blacksmith?
What's his name?
What's? What's bravery? Essentially, What's is kind of like cameo from Secret of Mana, but it's just that, a cameo. There's no
Oh, Watts,
continuity
a small
involved.
body underground. He strikes with his hammer and this great hell.
4?
Yes, it's kind of like Watts are what? Your soul is your great hell. What's our what? You haven't really done that much. The end.
Okay, thanks. Leaves her.
No, sir.
Wow! Dwibs, you really are perfect to play that guy.
And we get an artifact. Okay.
Mind your own damn business.
However, we're not over with him. First, obviously, we need to report. There you go. As I mentioned, Watts was a character also in Secret of Mana, essentially again the blacksmith, but it's not the same character. They're essentially like cameo, only for cameo purposes. And here it teaches you blacksmithing, essentially. But first, there's gonna be, I think, another side quest involving him. Yeah, that's because the next side quest involving him is gonna be about finding his hammer. Yes, he actually lost it. Oh, there you go.
See ya!
And he just runs into it. There you go. It happens with all party members. For the other party members that are not Bud and Lisa, they just run away, as I will demonstrate, for example, with the Dragon story arc.
So, essentially, as long as you never return home, you could have...
Yeah.
Was Tale of Heroics.
Yeah, you can still have them with you.
Couldn't that mean that you could essentially get, like, well, an unlimited number of allies chilling you along, then?
No, you can only have one ally at the time, and if you get another one for story select good purposes, the previous one gets replaced.
Oh, so the devs thought ahead.
Mm-hmm. Alright, where go? Mining business.
I wonder, though, can you bring,
Batman
like...
says Watts doesn't have any heroic stories to tell. I wish someone would come up with a story about me. He moves like lightning. He kicks monster butts. I think I like that.
You were saying, Jova?
I wonder, though, if, you know, if all your allies can join you for the final battle.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The ally that you bring with you for the final battle, is that, like, how is that determined, I wonder?
Depends on what... Well, there's the thing. Outside of the major story arcs, which actually have you a specific ally determined by the events that have happened, for the final boss time and quest, main quest, for the very definitive final dungeon after you completed everything, you don't get an ally. You can get one by going into one of the villages and getting one, but story-wise, there is no one that the story gives to you.
They don't even speak up if they're there with you during the final boss battle,
No.
I'm guessing?
No. So it's not implemented to the end. Again, it's also tied to the fact that, as it will become clear, the entirety of the very last quest, it's not really a good way to end the game. Like the endings of the story arcs of their own are great on for more or less are great on their own, but they are not tied together, and the ending after all of that is not that of a big of a conclusion. It's not sequel baiting or that kind of things, but it's not as conclusive. And so there is a very thing that suggests is that there should have been something that connected the three things.
So it's essentially
Anyway.
one of those cases where the game itself is brimming with content and has a lot of great writing here. It's just the
Until
ending
the end.
doesn't hold up well.
Sounds familiar, Pedro, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, very good. Watts drops the hammer. We need to essentially get back Watts' hammer. It's lost in the mines. This is one other dungeon that can get a bit labyrinthic, but unlike the ruins, the layout is much more simpler. It's only divided in floors, and you get some sort of fast travel. So there you go, the Dub Bear Express.
The heck?
Thank you. Apparently, Jova, it was the turn of a protagonist being new to the dimensional pocket of someone. This is where I doubt.
That's very weird.
This is where
We found the hammer.
That's
It
where
was
the
here
Dub
all
Bear
along.
Express takes us?
A book of poems. Oh my god, I'm actually speaking. Do you want to read it?
Oh my god, the character can actually speak.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Why do you twinkle the way you do? Are you
Uh.
laughing because you're just too happy?
We're getting
Or is it the
philosophical.
cold wind making you shiver?
Stop reading my diary.
Hello? You!
I'm starting to feel like one of the Chrono
Don't
Trigger.
go reading my poems like that.
It's starting
No,
to feel
Joe,
like one of.
he's not dowsing.
It's starting to feel like one of the Chrono Trigger dance sequences gone wrong.
Okay, thanks, bye.
So let me get this straight.
These guys will become important later on in one of the minor story arcs.
So their version of an express is one of them grabbing you and dashing real fast.
Yes.
So it's like kidnapping,
it's like-
except you're paying your kidnapper to transport you.
Actually, no, you don't even have to pay.
Really?
Yep.
Kidnapping, free of charge.
Isn't it wonderful, Jova?
Yes.
Kidnapping.
Kidnapping
Bye
is a
now.
means of
And now you know
transportation.
why.
That's...
And now you know why Secret of Mana is gonna get a remake in this.
Because it endorses kidnapping, the bastards.
It shows
that-
kidnapping in a positive light, so it's
Well,
not
to be fair, the dot bears are essentially one of my favorite parts of the game. It's most likely due to how old school you need to be just in order to understand them.
They're the Ewoks, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Just say they're a bit more nasty than that. But the point is, Jova, I think it's gonna be one of the next parts. It's very short. You need to actually understand how they talk. And the game is gonna go old school in a sense. Okay, they say very simple words, and each word can mean one of these three things. So essentially, here's a list of the things that they mean, and essentially every time we will talk to you, you will have to translate on your own.
Interesting.
Alright.
This happens not only in the side quests where introduced, but in later ones where the game doesn't necessarily tell you to understand that. It's kind of like the Albed in Final Fantasy X, but the game gives you right away the translation that you need.
Thank fucking Lord.
It doesn't implement it into the game. It's in the dialogues itself. You have to do it on manually. But let's just say that I prepared a bit of a surprise for all of you.
Dandy.
Okay.
Anyway, now that we got the hammer back, we just a matter of getting back to Watts, and he's gonna be able to finally teach us blacksmithing.
Hey, can we get a Doug Bear Express to the entrance of his cave?
Unfortunately, no. It's like only two ways, and the other way, I think it brings you to another part of the cave. So it only, don't worry, boys. I mentioned it's not very intricate as a maze. The most annoying parts are essentially having to refight the enemies, but since they are low levels, they're actually easy to deal with. Another thing that I think I forgot to mention is that the level of the enemy scales in the of the areas scales by how early you place it. So essentially, an area that is kept for long will have enemies that are stronger than the same area placed early in the game.
And if
Anyway,
you want to
there we
see
go.
all the enemies possible, I guess you have to replay the game and place them differently.
Not necessarily. It's just a matter of level. The enemies up here are always the same.
Oh, okay. So it's just a matter of level. Okay. Oops.
And there you go. No.
Don't you just love PlayStation-ish guitars?
Not for nothing,
That's
but
not what I meant.
go ahead.
Oh, let me guess. You don't like the synthesizer of the soundtrack
I'm
again.
gonna to get back.
Well, I think Dribs has said before that he's not a big fan of the synth anyway in video games, or...
Well, I mean, if it sounds good enough, then it's fine. But if it doesn't, then
And you're saying that in this case it doesn't?
well, it kind of sounds a bit too samey to be a guitar.
Samey? Wait, what? Samey?
What?
Wait,
What?
I don't understand
I mean,
what you mean
whatever.
with that.
My brother plays guitar all the time,
Okay.
and
No, wait,
and
hang on, let him finish.
it does sound a bit it does sound different depending on what you do. Here, it just kind of sounds similar.
Oh, I think I know what he means, Jova. See, the thing is,
Is it
acoustic
because it
problem.
repeats the acoustics?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the same sound font is repeated over and over. Whereas when you're actually playing a real guitar, obviously it's always going to sound different because, well, it's the human fingers cannot replicate the exact same movements
That's
over and
weird.
over.
Well, if I recall correctly, the synthesized guitar for Vincent's theme in Final Fantasy VII sounded like it had reverberance and everything.
Well, that's because it's Nobuo Uematsu. I mean,
But this is the Yakushima Shimamura. I mean, that shouldn't be a
Yeah.
deterrent.
well, this is one of her first ones. So
Well,
I guess
even
it's-
still, though, I mean, I see where Tio's coming from. I mean, I'll be quite honest, Miko, it doesn't really bug me, but
Anyway,
now that you mention
whatever.
it,
For
I guess
now,
I
let's
hear
just
it.
read this. Dweebs.
Note time.
A flame of hope, makes business.
No, not this one. What's hammer? There you go, 61.
What's your
What
name?
was this hammer when my master found it for him? Doesn't it feel good to do good things? It would be nice if master could read me a story once in a while. Please.
What does that have to do with the hammer, kid?
I just
Um,
want a story.
Anyway,
It's
page.
the same. Little Cactus loves to do this kind of shit.
Also,
Anyway,
what's with the sprites there? It looks like they're trying to.
Good job. It's to showcase. It's just to compress the image of all.
But it's
three
like
of
they're
them.
fighting. It's like they're fighting for screen time. I want to
What
be
am
on
I-
screen. Don't be.
What am I
So,
fighting for?
It's,
What do you mean,
kind of
like the
like one of
split
the
screen?
yeah, it's kind of like one of those jokes
Yeah.
that they do in the fourth wall boxes of the
Yeah.
Yoka anime.
And Looney
Anyway, for
Tunes.
this last side quest of the day, we just need to go over here to the workshop, and what's will automatically appear like that.
Ah,
Whoa!
I just finished making the blacksmith he asked for.
So
Well,
that's
those I
what-
can at the very least assure you that in the PS2 era, Yoko had much better sims to work with.
Ah,
Guys,
you
it's
never asked me.
complaining about millennials.
He's
Great
a pirate,
stuff. So
not
why did I-
standing.
Millennials
Oh,
against
I get
Canada.
it. Come on. I'm trying to be Irish. I guess I got him better in the smithy if I
couldn't
can't
even-
thank you.
Dweebs, you can even do a Welsh accent to save your life. What makes you think you can do Irish?
No, they just
Okay,
leave
yeah,
me. It's
I
fine
mean,
like that.
So have a. Right, first, come on in.
All right.
The
Class,
half of the blacksmith.
Pay attention because there's gonna be a test later on.
How complicated could it be, Teacher Pedro, Tio?
Someone's.
Let Watts explain it for me.
Alright.
That's it. You got it. It's all in the hammer.
It's always the fucking.
Yes.
The right, it makes the right sound. It's all in the hammer.
But by the way, I want to say that this is completely pointless because
Many times you find the right craftsman.
every time you actually craft a weapon, it's all automated. You don't actually have to press QTs in order to do
Oh,
that.
okay.
Same for
What was the point?
Well, Teo.
Yeah, go ahead.
You go on.
Well, Teo, you can always try to get level 5's Almas at the weapon shop on the shop. It's a mini game revolved around you playing as a weapon shop owner, and it's hilarious. It's a comedic game, and it's really fun.
I didn't know
Hey.
this existed.
Anyway,
It's part of the guild series, Shiro. Those
I-
games at level 5 got made with the collaboration.
as
Okay.
what's explained, don't worry, Dweebs, I'm just gonna sum it up. As what's explained, depending on the items you use, it varies the quality of the item and the attributes that it has.
But Tio,
Yes.
what about the hammer strikes? I mean, he's talking so much about the dang thing.
Yeah, true.
What is also about...
What was that, Tio?
Yeah, notice how my character is banging the same piece of ammo. So
1 million strikes.
Wow, that's really
That's
happy.
right. 5,000, 5,001, 5,002, 5,003, 5,004.
So essentially, this is functioning as your tutorial for the blacksmith. Not that you will need anyway, because as I mentioned, it's a complete clusterfuck.
Are you sure this isn't gonna be on some mystical test that we have to tell a door later?
Interesting thing, Jova, but let's just say that
The answer
one
Talking to
speci-
doors comes later.
Yes, the answer is love, as Peter was about to say.
Not the time for knocking on doors.
Getting it going.
Uh,
Comes later.
One
Door voiced by Tony
specific,
J.
one specific of these tutorial side quests that will involve one of mechanics. I think it's golemology. I think we'll see later. But anyway, actually has a test. The character involved gives you like a small book, which is like 5 or 6 pages in total, I think. and Ben tells you to read, and then ask a question tied to that. So there is a legit test to that.
Huh.
Anyway, very good. Go ahead, Libs.
What's your name, Ted? Instead of starting out, I'll give you this.
Menos bronze, and that's it.
We are then. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks.
Now, frick off! They give me materials for weapons and armor. Because for it's starting out.
You can actually lie and get another one, but I want to be a good sport.
Oh, I did then, did I? Yeah, forget. Alright then, keep it up and you'll be a fine blacksmith.
Is there a downfall if you lie here?
No, you'd actually get a second Menos bronze, but I don't really need it, so. There you go, the path of the
Crossbows.
blacksmith. Actually, that was a simple bow with 3 arrows. It's like in Men in Tights, where Robin Hood fires like 6 arrows at once.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just gonna report this one and we'll be done for the day. Anytime. Darkstar, come on, there you go.
So, does that
Yeah,
change based on which
hey.
animal you've chosen as your pet, by the way?
No, unfortunately, no, it's always a rabite.
Tia, maybe you could have put over Crash Bash's loading music over it.
No.
Nah, it's not that long.
Weapons finished.
Alright.
What about
that's
Wrath of Cortex loading?
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Although I agree with what Kadikaro said, but the loading screens don't seem to be that long.
It's the I think he's playing the platinum version that has lower load times on the PS2.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, for those of us that didn't have that vision.
I
do.
It's one of those things where, for example, the PS.
Alright, go ahead, Libs.
There's a new room in the backyard workshop. It's to make weapons and armors for my master to be able to wax them more than once. That's not nice. We should all be friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pedro.
It seems to be kind of a thing with Crash back in the day when it comes to the platinum / greatest hits versions for Jova. For the Crash 2 on platinum had the analog control, unlike the original release, which is weird.
Yep.
So that's
Also, that version isn't on the PS3 or PSN store, by the way. Just
no, it is. We have the Insane Trilogy now.
Hey, don't diss the classics. They still have some things that the Insane Trilogy don't have, sadly.
Well, I still don't understand some silly decisions made by Sony or whatever, but anyway.
Alright, see you for
more
the
like
next part.
more like Vicarious Visions, but sure. All right.
See you for the next part.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.